Hey y'all, hope everybody's doing all right. What I want to talk about today is when I found this car. Well, the car found me. Long story short, uh, I had looked at it. People asked me several years later, after the man who had owned it passed, if I was still interested in it. So I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I said, "Can I go look at it?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." So I go look at it, and it was like all grimy and covered with green moss. I thought it was actually a blue car, but it wasn't. It was black once I got it cleaned up. But I thought, well, I want to go pop the hood. So I come up to the car. It was piled full of stuff. And I went to pop the hood and show you what I found. So I wanted to pop the hood. So I came up here and I opened the door like this. And of course, this was all, headliner was hanging down in shreds. And of course, you see how rusty everything was, but it was wet. Everything in here was soaking wet. And thankfully I got it in time to keep the rust from absolutely destroying it. But anyway, I came over to here and, well, first I tried to open the hood from outside and I couldn't figure out a way to do that. So I thought, well, does it have something in here? So I came in here and there was a thing here that said hood. I thought, okay, here we go. So I grab it and I pull on it and it went like, and I'm like, now what do I do? Well, there's a way to get in it. And I could not find anything on YouTube that will tell you how to get in one of these cars' hood. And I'm not going to tell you now, but I'll tell you where you can find it. You can go to the website VCCA Chat. That's, I think, Vintage Chevrolet Club, yada, yada, yada. That's Victor, Charlie, Charlie, Alpha, if you're wondering what those letters were. And you can search for a broken hood cable. To get in here, you have to make a tool. And you have to fish it up through there. I made the tool, but I couldn't fish it up in there. My son finally got in the thing and got it popped open. If you don't do that, unless someone has went in there and modified it somehow, you're not going to get in it. But, once we learned the trick to get in it, that's what we've been using. But I've got a new hood cable, and I'm going to install it so that we're right. Also, I got new locks. If you want new locks, bought mine off of eBay. Way you could change them is this plate slides in, and that's what holds them. The instructions for installing them and removing them are in the factory service manual, as are the instructions for this, which likewise also had to replace because I had to drill it out. Now, the thing to consider with this thing is the instructions are kind of vague, as are a lot of things in the factory service manual, but their mechanics were used to that type of technology, so I'm sure, they understood what they meant, whereas, today I'm not familiar with the base technology that they were basing the assumptions off of, assuming their mechanic knew this and knew that already. I'm sure they had some type of factory training or something like that. Which, if you want to see some really cool stuff, it's Mopar, but they had this little character called Tech, and these film projector shows, and somebody's put those on YouTube, and they're really fun to watch, like from back in the days, talking with the guys that were fresh out of the service, after World War II and stuff. And I've watched a lot of them, and they cover a lot of the mechanical basics with cars. Even though this is not a Chrysler product, it's still, a lot of it, the same things still apply. So it's pretty neat stuff to watch if you so inclined to look for it. I learned a lot about how they used to do front end alignments and work on brakes and things like that. It's a little bit different than how we do it in this day and time, but it worked for the time, I suppose. But anyway, to get back to this, if you need to know how to replace one of these, there's a YouTube video that tells you how to do it, so I'm not going to make another one that tell you the same thing. I think his his handle is like Glenn 5757 or something like that. But anyway, I just searched for 1948 Chevrolet trunk lock, and a video came up that tells how to take this thing out, take this out. To take this whole thing out, you have to have a key. If you don't have a key, and this tells you this in the factory service manual, you have to drill this lock out. And there is a certain place you have to drill into here. Don't just drill anywhere, you'll damage it. You'll need the factory service manual to tell you exactly how to do that. But I'm not in the habit of teaching people how to break into cars, so I'm not putting it on here. But this was the only lock that I had. But I replaced it so they all match. I kept the old one, and I even had a key. So went ahead and matched them all up and replaced them. Now we'll get into replacing this hood cable. All right, here is a new hood cable. And this is a new hood cable catch. All of that, of course, this is the old hood cable outer sheath. It will come in through this grommet, comes in through here, feeds in through this to spring the hood. What this does is the cable pulls this back and releases this mechanism, like so, to pop the hood. Now, what I was talking about, if you've got the problem, if your hood cable is broken, you will have to make a device. And that's what I say, it's on VCCA chat. They will tell you they've got a pattern where other people have made them. It's a device that will go under the hood and get you up into here to push this back. Now, I've read where some people have went in and like behind here, and they've welded a rod to them, I think, and run it down where you can reach up through the grill and grab it and push it back that way. If you're someone that doesn't want your hood to normally be able to be opened that way, then you know, you're gonna be dependent on the cable like me. So that way I can retire my, well, I'll keep my device for emergencies, but other than that, I'll be opening it like it normally should be. So I'm gonna get in here, take this off so I can thread the new cable through here. Of course, it goes down here and it goes through the wiring harness grommet. Hopefully I can fish that thing through there. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes things like that are easy. Things you think will be easy turn out being really hard, and things that you think are going to be next to impossible might fall into place. So the only way to know is to get in here and do it. Let's see. Alrighty, so what I've done, there is a nut back here on the back side of this thing. Took it all loose. Got this sliding loose, and here you can see the old firewall grommet. What's left of it is still there. Now, this may be a daunting challenge. It may not be too bad. Okay. Alright, I have removed the front cowling, or whatever the correct technical name for that piece. That thing has been removed. Of course, you see, I will take note. The cable clips into that. It goes through this keeper, and it goes through the firewall grommet. Now, I'm going to reach in here and feel where the hole is in that firewall grommet. All right, see this? Yeah, the old grommet had to come off. Okay. And there's the old hardware and the old cable. Thank you for your service. Okay. Now, I'm going to get this new cable ready. I am going to pre-lubricate it. And then we'll put it in here. Now, I'm going to have to remove the center of it. I'll have to pull this out, then maneuver the cable into place. Oh, why does that have to say China? It's Chinesium. Well, you won't be able to see that when I get done with it. It'll be on the underside. So, some of you may be saying, what's wrong with China? I got nothing against China. But I'd like to see Americans have jobs too. Leave it at that. But I'm going to lubricate this thing, and then we'll fish it back through here. And also going to compare them for length. See if hopefully they're close, and if they're not, then I'll need to shorten the outer sheath on this to the same length as that one, so we don't have any issues. All right, I have now lubricated it with chain and cable lube that you can buy at Napa. That's where mine came from. Now, running this cable through here, I need to remember. See, I put the nut on there. Then I'm going to fish it through the grommet and on out through the front. If you don't put that nut on there, you have to pull it all back apart and do it again. So, let me get to fishing here. All right. I fished through the grommet. It's going to come out of the grommet through here. Now, I did not cut it off yet. I'll wait till I get everything positioned here. This piece. All right. It fits. Cinderella, it fits. Used to be in the Scouts with a guy named Fitz. Short for Fitzpatrick. Some pretty good folks. Most all the folks I've met through the years is good folks. Every now and then you run into a bad one that has their own agenda. Alright, but anyway, you see how this goes. I won't be able to do that one-handed, but Tighten that down. Then the cable will be inserted here. The actual working part of the cable, not the outer sheath. So I'll get that secured and be right back. Okay, just discovered something. I went to run the nut up in here and it went up inside this thing. You can't get to it. I looked here in the old one. There's a spacer and a lock washer. And then the nut. So I'm going to pull this back off and put the spacer and the lock washer on there, and then I'll put the new nut on, and that'll set it back far enough that the wrench should be able to get it. So something to pay attention to. If they put a spacer in there originally on things like this, probably going to need one. All right, I've got the new one in here. Yes, the adapter and all that worked, or adapter, I'm sorry, spacer. Worked out just right. Let's see. All right. So here we have this. Now I'll need to put the cowling back on here to see how much I need to take off of it. All right, I've got it here up to this point. This will show me where I'm gonna need to cut it to I'll cut it to where this is up in here. So I'll cut it and then get ready to put it inside of here. Alrighty, now got the cable routed. Got the latch here ready to go. Now, what I'm going to do is cut this cable off right around in here somewhere. Then insert the inner cable through it, hook it up, cut it off, and secure that part with one of these, which is another eBay grab. There's also another one here for the carburetor linkage. All right, here's what I learned. Got it put in. You don't want this cable stop to be up against this, because if this doesn't come all the way down, your hood's not going to latch, and you'll waste time like I did trying to figure out what you do wrong. All right, so this outer cable sheath is cut up inside of here. I actually just broke it off. I clamped onto it with a pair of vice grips and just wiggled it back and forth until it snapped. I cut this with a pair of side cutters. Now that I've got it all put together, let's see if it's going to work for us on camera. It is latched and locked. Come and we do this. And then we come and we do this. It worked. Do it again. That hood is out of alignment and I don't know how to line it up. It's not like they're adjustable bolts or anything, they're not. All right. Okay. Yeah, here's what I was talking about. Max chain cable lube for lubricating your cables and chains. So that's what I used. Anyway, we'll run it out the road right quick, turn it around, pull it in the garage, and call it a night. So y'all have a good evening. Be careful, be safe, whatever you do. If you don't know how to do it, don't do it. Find somebody who does. But whatever you do, do it safe. Have fun, and we'll catch you later. Thank you. Bye.